video going viral of another frightening attack targeting an Asian American. This one happening today in San Francisco. A woman simply standing next to a lamppost with her small shopping cart when a man walked up and started hitting her in the face.
The video of a 76-year-old Asian woman crying with a bruised eye after being assaulted by a white man in San Francisco has gone viral on social media and shocked the entire world. The elderly woman who bravely beat off the attacker was the victim of a surging tide of anti-Asian violence and hate crimes across the United States. 6 Asian Americans were shot dead in cold blood by a young white gunman in the US city of Atlanta. And then you had this Slap a Nation challenge going on for some time. When people across the world are expressing sympathy for the victims, as well as their indignation against those perpetrators, they're also wondering why the United States, a country known as a nation of immigrants, is struggling with waves of violence and xenophobia. I'm Wang Zihang, and this is Xinhua Commentary. With a short history densely stained by a racist tradition, the country built by immigrants is unsurprisingly infamous for racial discrimination. From the state-sanctioned killings of native Indians and the extreme abusive policies against African slaves and Chinese laborers to the Chinese Exclusion Act and the Immigration Act of 1924, the United States has a deplorable track record in maltreating its minority groups. When political, economic, and social problems arise, ethnic minorities have always been made the scapegoats. That is also the case in the COVID-19 pandemic. According to Stop AAPI Hate, a California-based non-profit social organization tracking incidents of violence against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, it received nearly 3,800 reports of attack or abuse against people of Asian descent between March 2020 to February 2021. Erica Lee, a historian and the author of America for Americans, described the acts of racism and violence facing Asian American and Pacific Islander communities a systemic national tragedy. Behind the tragedy is the US society's deep-seated and long-standing white supremacy, a belief that white people constitute a superior race and should therefore dominate the society. This extremist bigotry has gained fresh momentum in recent years from the intensified polarization of American politics. According to the New York-based Anti-Defamation League, distribution of white supremacist propaganda in the United States in 2020 increased nearly twofold from a year ago. Devastating racism is only the tip of the iceberg of America's mess in human rights protection. One thing is clear: without sweeping reforms and an earnest attitude, Uncle Sam can hardly clean up this mess, let alone act as a beacon of hope.